The cider I made with coriander seed and sweet orange peel. Most of it I put in a keg and it's still there maturing away. I did put a small amount in a bottle and pop that in the fridge, and I'm going to see what it tastes like now. This I didn't prime, so I'm not expecting any kind of fizz or condition there. I'm going to give it a taste. It's coming out dark and cloudy. Now, I did have a comment on the previous video about the cider, that making it with cloudy apple juice, it often comes out cloudy, and I'd replied that I'd often had it clear. But I think it would be more accurate to say that it came out clear eventually. It was after being left in the keg for a while to mature that it fell bright. When it initially came out, it was just as murky as this. Well, maybe not quite this murky. This looks even worse, I think, because the cider apple kit that I used was significantly out of date and had been kept in the roof and exposed to all kinds of high and low temperatures. And consequently, I think just as liquid malt extract does when kept for a while, it eventually turns dark. And I did notice when I poured it into the fermenter, it was much darker than when I've previously used the kit. Time for a taste now. That's nice. I think I prefer it not quite so cold, straight from the fridge. And I think as it warms up, probably get more of the flavour from the coriander seed. It seems to come through a little, certainly not overpowering, very subtle. But I think I would prefer it not this cold, but also with some carbonation there. That said, it's still a very passable cider. And now to check the Canadian Blonde. Oh, nice head retention. Stick a flake in that. And reasonably clear. Little bit of haze. Still take a while longer to clear, absolutely. Now, this is one thing I did forget with brewing from either liquid malt extract or a beer kit. When I brewed from all grain, I always found the beers cleared crystal clear very quickly, and anything similar to a kit, it just took that little bit longer. Not that it really matters as long as it tastes good. Speaking of which, let's have a taste. Oh yeah. Oh, that's nice. It's got a nice clean taste to it. Pretty pleased with that head retention too. It's died down a bit now. The head was so frothy just after pouring because of the way that I've served and conditioned the beer. At the moment it's not a fizzy beer. I think you could call it petulant. It's under far too much pressure at the moment. I've just been a bit sloppy with the way I've kegged it. So what's happening when I'm pouring it? I'm serving it through a picnic tap, and because it's a fairly wide bore, the beer as it comes through, because it's under so much pressure, is fobbing in the line and fobbing as it comes out of the tap. If I wanted to eliminate that, all I would do is introduce a couple of feet of a far narrower bore tubing, and I've always found in the past when you've got a beer that's quite under a lot of pressure or quite highly carbonated, Introducing that bit of narrow bore tubing stops the fobbing when you're serving, and you don't get half a pint of head and a flat beer. Right, it's a fairly brief homebrew Wednesday. It's just coming up to lunchtime, and drinking on an empty stomach is never a great idea, particularly if I want to be productive for the rest of the day. So I'm going to have a crack at making myself some hash browns for a fry up for lunch. Cheers. Lunchtime. Right, hash browns. I'm going to make them very much in the same way that I made some Rosties recently. That's the microwave method. For me, hash browns, and I'm sure you're going to correct me on this if you disagree, have onion in as well. So first of all, we're going to grate the onion, or shallot as I've got here, all I've got in today. Grate the potato, put it in the microwave for 2 minutes, and that's an 800 watt microwave. Then they're nicely sticky and binding together already. Season them with salt and pepper. And when you cook them, you can just form them yourself in the pan, or if you're fussy on the shape, you could use something like a chef's ring or some other kind of shape. Pat them into the ring, and then put them into the pan. Cook over a low to medium heat, turning halfway when they're brown on one side, and then when they're brown on the other, they're done.
Whoop, off it goes.
That's a good hash brown. You can't get better than this. Homemade hash browns. Black pudding made at the local butcher's. And eggs from our hens. Not to mention beer from the keg. And now for some puppy training. Now, it's about time I show you some stuff about homebrew. This young pup is a keg. Nothing to be worried about at all. I'm just going to release the gas. There we go. So it's fine. It's alright. It's alright. It's fine. See? It's alright, isn't it? There we go. All out. And then off comes the cap. Bloody hell. This has been closed up for about 3 or 4 years. What the hell's in there? Up yours.